Definitely feel a lot better after the game. After watching it, seeing what we did good, seeing things we got to work on. I feel like me and Rashawn probably had the longest talk about the game after watching it on the plane. I feel like guys like us, we talk about the second play of the game. I got to make that play. Something that I got to work on. The play with Rashawn. Got to bring those in. It's little details like that we have to fix. But I think the biggest thing that we took from that game is that first series, the energy, the way we started it off, the passion. You can feel it. You can see it. That's the part that we got to kind of continue throughout the whole game. I feel like that's the biggest thing. And one more thing about the game that we learned was, that's finding a way not to get frustrated with how the game is going, but focus on completing each task, each play, one play at a time. We can't kind of figure out what the offense may do each game, but we can control what the defense does each play. And that's the part that we got to do better at. Once you get to a point where everybody's trying to make a play, depending on what the score is, you got some people who will jump gaps. Concluding myself, I know I have a thirds, but I'm trying to make a play for the team. I start to sit a little bit. I shouldn't. So getting back to just doing our job, doing what we need to do, staying poised, staying under control, and doing exactly what our job description is on each play. I feel like that's the biggest thing, biggest lesson that we took from this game.
And this issue of playing the ball in the air, is that something that, again, is it something that's instinctive, or can it be learned? If a guy doesn't seem to be that good at it, is it something he can learn if he's physically talented?
Most definitely. So let's go to my play first. Me getting used to, sometimes I might have to dive for a catch. To get used to just getting the ball in my hands, sending it off someone's hand, and being able to judge it and just catching. I have to get used to catching it, so it's not to the point where I have a ton of breakups. But when that ball touches my hands, I got to make that play. So in practice, after practice, catching extra footballs, seeing how it feels, just getting used to just catching. Because I'm not a receiver, so it's not something that I focus on every single day, but I can. So that's the part I got to improve. Talk about Rashawn play. It's little details if he go up and extend his arms instead of keeping him short and try to catch it with his chest, that's an interception. Because he goes on top, he extends his arms, make the play, it's a lot easier. So it's little details that a lot of people don't notice, but it can change the outcome of a game. So those are things that we're working on outside of practice. Today, I've never been a punt returner, but I'm back here trying to catch punts because, you can see how the ball can change. You start getting better at judging the ball when it's coming down, where it's going. And, I never noticed how good, seeing the ball, from a punt perspective, how much it can help. So it's little details that I can continue to work on, to help my game. So that's the part, just little extra steps that we got to start doing, each and every day. But like I said,
what does Coach ask the captain specifically to do in terms of kind of leading you guys from week 1 to week 2?
Bringing the guys along. Understand this is our first game. This whole team really play with each other. No, that's game 1. But the main thing, we can't have the young guys feeling like they can get used to losing, because it's not what the environment we're trying to create. So for captains, we got to do a little bit more. We got to bring the guys along. We got to keep them up. We got to keep their spirits up and get them starting to believe in something that's a lot bigger than just that game 1.
Is that hard? Because there are some guys on this team, a number of them, who have lost 16 in a row.
Yeah, it's tough, but now you have the captains who seen it before, been through winning teams, know how it feel to lose games and how to get, prepare for the next one, to continue to try to get better so you don't lose another one. So it's critical for the captains to do a lot more, speak up a lot more, and that's what a lot of our captains is good at, is speaking up and you're just giving guys hope. And that's the main thing. You got to believe in something that's bigger than yourself, and it takes the captains to continue to show the way, doing everything right, being that leader on and off the field. So that's the part that we continue to to preach as captains. And I feel like every day we're trying to come up with something new to try to figure out how to do better, how to get guys to continue to believe. And right now, just off today's practice, I can see the spirit's still there. Everybody, the way they attacked practice today, it was awesome, because we could have sat here and just laid down. The guys who been through this team before and knowing how it feel to lose, they could have just laid down and gave up. But I haven't seen not one person waver, and that's very important. And I love seeing that. Now we can reset and kind of do this all over again and make it work. So that's awesome to see.
Jack, you seem to say that during the game that there was a frustration level or disappointment level that took you out of doing what you need to be doing. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it can get frustrating. So when I say that, you start seeing the score kind of get up on you, right? And everybody wants to make the play. So you start hearing coaches, we got to get the ball back. Let's make a play. Let's get a pick. Let's get a fumble. in our head, we're thinking, man, how can I do this? How can I be that guy? This is myself talking to myself, like, how can I make this play? So I can, one play, for a great example, I'm getting a fade ball, like I'm a third corner, I'm getting a fade ball, but I see number 2, the inside guy running the out route, and I'm looking at the quarterback dead in his eyes, looking at his out route, thinking about to throw it, and I'm ready to sit down and jump a route, trying to make a play for the team, but that's not my job. And that's the frustrating part. I'm frustrated because I want to make this play so bad, but I know my team need me to do my job. So you start to get that a little confused because you're like, man, how can I do it? How can I do it? But at the end of the day, you just got to do your job, and I feel like that's more than enough to make the right play. Because if I'm in the right position, it's no telling that ball goes over my head, I can try to make that play now, So that's the frustrating part because everybody wants to be the guy to make that play because they're trying to help their team win. There's nobody on this defense that's not trying to do their best to help this team win. So that's the part that gets frustrating.
When did you feel that setting in? When did you feel that setting in? Second
You
quarter?
start going towards, no, not the second quarter. I feel like everybody's still in high hopes of, trying to make a comeback. I feel like when you start getting towards the end of the third quarter, the interceptions started picking up more. We wasn't winning on third down as a defense. It started like, okay, how can we make a play? We got to get this ball out. That's the part that gets frustrating. But if you remember, like I said, the first series of the game, imagine that same defense in that first series carried first, second, third, fourth quarter. That's the defense that's unstoppable. So that's the part that we got to grab and kind of build off of.
How would you describe the mood in the post-game locker room, or even on the flight home? Was there any feeling of that, gosh, I just can't believe that we got schooled like that, or something to that effect?
Any real competitor going to feel some type of way after a loss like that. You kind of practice that week. You feel like you gave everything you could. You feel like you got a big step in coming to the game the right way. Understand that you know exactly what you're going to get from this team, and it doesn't go your way. I think Meyer said it best. It was unexpected because you give so much to this in practice that week. You imagine that you're going to win that game, but wins aren't promised. Doesn't matter how hard you work, but that's the part that we got to continue to get better at, and we're gonna focus on that. But like I said, a real competitor is going to feel some type of way about the loss because you don't like losing. So yeah, the energy wasn't right after the game, but like I said, we gave them guys 24 hours to kind of look over the game, see the corrections, and you got to move forward. That's the league, and I'm glad that the young guys are starting to understand that part of the game.
You talked about that being the first time this defense has sort of played together.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like you guys communicated well back there, and how would you sort of adjust?
Oh, yeah, it was some great things. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that the defense did a terrible job the whole game. There's some great things we took from it, but I feel like the biggest part was, okay, if I had one mistake, another guy had one mistake, then another guy had one mistake. You have one mistake, but you start adding it all up, and you go up to 10, 12 mistakes. That's the part that can't happen. So you try to eliminate those type of mistakes, but it's so many good things because we did communicate well. It was a great feeling, but like I said, the best feeling was the first series. That's the part that we continue to talk about because we have to build off that. And, I feel like going into game 2, it's going to be a huge difference because we learn so much about each other after playing with each other for the first time, a full game. It's going to be a big difference.
Shaq, how would you assess Tyson Campbell's NFL debut?
So he got a lot to learn from. Definitely got a lot to learn from, but I love the way he competed. I love the way he fought throughout the whole game. Because a guy that young giving up any type of plays, sometimes they can get into their own little hole, and it's hard for them to get out. He took it very professional, being able to go in each play and try to make another play. That was huge. But now it's little details. As this thing's a little different. You might have a certain drop, and being in that nickel spot, but you got a vet who will sit there in a spot where you didn't think you had to cover. It's little details that as a rookie you have to learn, and that's the part that I'm going to help him with. Even before plays, if I'm giving him a route, I told him if I tell you a route, if I feel like I know something, just go with it. I don't seen it so many times. I don't be here long enough to see exactly what's going on. Trust me, it's going to work, and that's the type of trust that you got to have in me as a teammate. So, like I said, a lot to learn from, but he's going to be great.
Coach has said that you guys are working on snapshots with him when it comes to following the ball in the air, making a play on the ball. Can you kind of elaborate a little bit on what you guys are doing in practice to help him improve in that area?
Give him a chance to go make a play at practice. Let's go back to preseason versus Saints game. We misjudged the ball on the post route. So we're going to give you that post route in practice. See how the ball is thrown off this quarterback hand. Be able to judge the ball the right way. Those things that we got to do in practice sometimes just to pull it to the side so he knows what it look like. The only way you can get better if you work at it in practice. So that's the part that we've been doing a lot better at, ball disruption, working on it in practice. Like I said, the better we get with feeling comfortable with catching the ball, it's going to come to the game. So like I said, on my play, I got to make that play. With Tyson, you got to learn how to judge the ball. But that's something that we're working on after practice each and every day, just a little extra.
What are your impressions of the Broncos offense?
Say that one more time, sorry.
What are your impressions of the Broncos offense?
I see Teddy. He's a mobile quarterback, but I think he's going to try to sit in the pocket more. I'm not sure about Jerry Jeudy yet. I think they put him on IR, if I'm not mistaken.
They did.
So it's a little couple things that we got to kind of figure out what plays they may use, what plays they may take out. But the offense can be explosive if you let them start fast. And that's the part that we got to make sure we focus on is starting fast, getting the best of Teddy and make them kind of air that ball out, make those guys try to make plays with the receivers. And as the back end, the DBs, we got to be able to win our one-on-one battles. And that's what we're harping on. Figure out who you're going to be facing, who you're going to be guarding, win your one-on-one battles. That make this game tough. Let's put the game on the Teddy Bridgewater and knock out the run. So that's the thing that we're focusing on.
Thanks, Shaq.
Appreciate you guys. All right,
Thanks, Shaq.
First question we're gonna ask you. What did you get at Cookies and Cream last night?
Oh gosh, you guys found out already?
On Instagram, they were quick to post it.
I bet. I got the Def Leppard ice cream with funfetti cookie.
You didn't get the Trevor Lawrence ice
I
cream?
didn't. I didn't like the explanation, the flavors. It's like.
Okay, so no blueberry. You're not a blueberry guy.
I don't mind blueberry, but some of like the chocolate stuff it was like white chocolate. I didn't really.
Not the white chocolate. Okay.
Thanks for asking.
Absolutely.
What did you do with the first touchdown ball? Did you keep that, or anything? Give it to somebody, or do you not?
Yeah, I have it actually. I forgot to ask for it, and then our equipment guys, who are awesome, saved it for me. So I got it in my locker.
What's your plan for?
I don't know. Keep it, might give it to family. I'm not really sure yet. I'll probably hold on to it. It's kind of special, so hold on to it.
Shaq was just in here talking about how he felt like the defense didn't continue to bring the energy that they had on the first series. I'm just wondering what your assessment is after really watching the tape, what your assessment is why the offense was inconsistent.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much how we felt after the game was spot on. Obviously, you find a few things that are good and a few things that are bad that you didn't know before when you watch the tape, but really just penalties. We got to be cleaner, got to be sharper, got to be quicker in and out of the huddle, procedurally. And then for me, just taking care of the ball, like I said, some bad decisions. And then you got to, Houston did a good job. Got to give it to them defensively, just always being around the ball. I mean, there was a couple plays that were tipped or whatever that they almost picked too. So it's just they did a good job. They had a good game plan, but I made it easy on them, and some of those turnovers, just throwing it to them. So I got to do a better job, take care of the ball. It's so important in this game, especially in this league. You go down in the margin -3. It's going to be hard to overcome that. So it's all of us though. We all got to be better, but it starts with me for sure. So those turnovers are direct reflection of me.
How different is the challenge this week? What this defense does compared to last week? Very different approaches.
Yeah, it's a lot different. This is still a big zone team, but more match principles. So they really good athletes that can carry and play man, and their disguises are really good in the back end. And then up front, they got the two linebackers. They're really like DNs, but can drop play coverage. Von Miller, Bradley Chubb. They got a lot of other guys too that can roll in. But those two guys on the edge, great pass rush. They make it tough to break contain. Just they do such a good job of setting the edge, and then they got the coverage players too. So they do a good job mixing it up in the secondary, showing you something pre-snap and changing it. So we got a challenge in front of us for sure, but I felt like we had a great first day of prep, and I like our plan so far.
Trevor, do you have enough reps with Jacob Hollister at this point to get a handle on, what he can bring?
I think he's great. Yeah, I think he's great. Now, we haven't gotten a ton of reps, but we've taught a little bit. He's really smart, picks up on it quick, always is where he's supposed to be, can run too. He's a good athlete. So that's probably the first thing I noticed is that he's pretty quick. So we connected on one in practice today, which was great. But yeah, I probably need to get a few more reps with him just because he's a newer guy, but I love what he can do.
In regards to defenses you saw in the preseason, obviously a little more vanilla, they weren't showing a lot, versus when you go out there for the first series against the Texans, what was the biggest difference in regards to what they show, and obviously it's different teams, but what you saw in the preseason in basic base vanilla defenses, and then what happened out there?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they kept it really simple. If you watch the game, it was almost all cover 2. They didn't really disguise it. The only thing they did was some double mug stuff with the front, but they dropped out, 80% of the time. So they weren't even trying to hide it. I was just not patient with the coverage, and that's designed to prevent big plays. And I got a little bit greedy on a couple and trying to take too much and just wasn't patient. That's a direct reflection of the turnovers. So, so that wasn't a crazy disguise game. But like I said, of them just always being near the ball, turning tips into picks, and if you're off on a throw, they're going to make you pay for it. Like, that didn't always happen in the preseason, but that's just how it is. There's great players everywhere, so you gotta take care of it. You gotta play well.
In regards to you as a runner, I know we've had this conversation with you, and you've had it with the coaching staff. When you went back and watched the tape, were there moments where maybe you say, I know I shouldn't be tucking and running it for 50 yards, but maybe I should have run here?
Yeah, for sure. There wasn't many where it was like for sure one where it was wide open I should have ran, but I think just in general, of using my legs and extending plays and not just sitting in the pocket, that's a part of my game that I think helps me, helps the team, and can keep plays alive. Like, that's something that I do well. So continuing to do that, and we talked about that in the preseason, and I feel like I got a little bit better, and then this week kind of was could have done a little bit more. So just something I'm always going to work on, but that's usually a pretty natural part of my game, so I'm not too concerned. I think the more comfortable I get, that'll start to show.
How important is it for the offense just to try to get more balance moving forward?
Yeah, very important. You see we got in a hole there and had to throw the ball a lot, which is just how it is, so it's tough. But like I said, it's still, even though we did throw it 50 times, we had a lot of opportunities for big plays that I missed, the turnovers, like I said, a lot of things. So even though we were in that hole, we did have a lot of opportunities, but obviously you want to have a balanced attack. And we do. We have, we got the guys to do it, so I'm not concerned with that. But it's just about playing cleaner early so you don't get down 17, 21, whatever it is, and then you kind of have to play catch up. So that's the idea, is just staying in the game by not shooting yourself in the foot, and we did that too much. So getting better at that.
Assuming your first home game, regular season home game here, do you have an anticipation for what the atmosphere is going to be like, or how you played in front of big home crowds obviously before, but first one here?
Yeah, I'm excited. I don't really know. Preseason was great, but I'm excited to see what it's like for the first regular season game, and obviously to have family and friends here, see my first home game. But yeah, I'm just happy to be at home. We played 3 straight away ones, so it's nice to just be, stay here for the game. So I'm excited for that, though. It's going to be awesome.
How many tickets are we talking about accumulating?
Oh, man, I don't even know. Probably like 20 or so. I don't really know.
Yeah.
Is the best way to flush everything that happened in the opener to get back on the field and do it right and then maybe even win?
Yeah, that's how that's the thing about football that kind of sucks, is obviously you need the time between games because it's so physical and you gotta get healthy. But when you have a rough game, it's like, dang, I gotta wait a whole week to go play again. Baseball, basketball, you get out there and get to play 2 days later and kind of flush it. So that's the thing. But we just got a lot to work on. So I'm glad we got a week of practice to get better. I thought we had a great day today, address some of the issues, and guys got a great attitude. We're ready to go and get a win.
When you actually had a game the week after a loss? Must have been.
Oh man, it's been. We lost to Notre Dame last season. I was out with COVID, but still, that was in the regular season, so that was last. No, I didn't play, but yeah. So you're right. It's never really. Maybe.
Were you surprised that the game opened with 12 straight runs? Now, granted, there was 2 runs that were nullified by holding calls, but on the script, on the official play sheet, it's 12 straight runs to open the game. Was that sort of the feeling that you get would happen based on the script you had going in?
You're talking about passes?
Yeah.
Oh, you said runs.
I'm sorry.
I was like, dude, was I in this game? I was playing.
2 runs were nullified by penalty.
Yeah, no, I got you. Yeah, it was just one of those games. Obviously you look at that. That's not the plan. I don't think anyone tries to go throw it 12 times straight coming out of the gate. But you look at the penalties and backed up and the third down situations, you just have to. So, and then I had an early miss low on the out to DJ, and that put us in third down or second down in the screen, and so all that, and some of those were screens too, which they're passes, but obviously that's for run after the catch, so it's a little bit different. But yeah, that's obviously not what you want. So we all gotta do better. That's not the offensive coordinator. That's really us on execution and putting him in a bad spot.
Hey, I've got a little off the wall question, so I apologize. But have you ever thought what the name, image, and likeness
Not ice
thing
cream.
would? Yeah. Have you ever thought about the name, image, and likeness thing and what that would have meant for you and what you could have probably earned off of that at all? Or
Yeah, I mean,
from?
I've thought about it, but I don't. I like to keep things simple, and I'm glad that I wasn't really a part of that. I think it's great for people that are still in school, but I loved my experience and I wouldn't change it. I know that brings a lot of stress too. Like I know in the situation I'm in, sometimes more is less. Now knowing like I can go do these endorsements and make money and do whatever marketing, sometimes more is less, and sometimes you worry a little bit about guys doing too much just because at the end of the day you still got to go to school and you got to play ball and you got to do what got you there, and so you just got to be careful. But no, I'm super happy. I got some friends that are still in school that are loving it, and it's been great for them to make some extra money, and I think it's a good thing, and I think it was the right move, but you just got to be careful.
Speaking of simplifying things, Urban said Monday that you guys were a lot of moving parts on offense, formations and personnel groupings. Do you feel like a little bit of that will be simplified going forward?
Yeah, no, I think we'll have a good plan, and yes, short answer, yeah. I'm not really sure of like what exactly we're gonna change in that, but I know that we have a good plan as far as personnel today. It was really clean substitutions, and we've done a great job addressing it. You know, it's not really in my conversation necessarily the personnel is all the coaches and who they want in the game. So, but today it looked great, so I'm not worried about it.
All right, thanks.
Thanks,
Awesome.
Trevor.
Thank you all.
Appreciate you.
Glad you enjoyed the.
Thanks, Amy.